Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brad Stine.
What did it? Stand the whole time. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank me. Thank me. Thank me very much. Sit down, you knuckleheads. Oh, God bless you. I am excited to be here. I am never did I ever expect in my career when they came to me and said, Brad, you're going to go to London, you're going to go to Paris. And I said, forget London, forget Paris. I want Franklin Springs. Give me this place. Give me the big FG. I'll tell you what, and I'm just curious. I love your little town. Just one concept I want to... Are you trying to make it impossible to find you? Is that what you're shooting for? I actually had to use 2 GPSs to find you people. You know why? Because the first one started crying. Where are we? It kept screaming out, where are we? And I had to say, I don't know. These people live here, and they like it. Look at these kids sitting up front. This your wife? No. Nothing endears yourself with a date like going, no. I don't even like this girl. But her daddy's rich, I'll tell you right now. He's right over there. Yeah, and he's got his eyes on your side. How old are you, young lady? 23. See how she said it? I'm just 33 and I don't know what else to do. I didn't know there'd be questions. But she's got right next to her, what, her boyfriend, her wallet? Nope, cell phone. Never know when in the middle of the taping you might want to make a phone call. Are you all from Franklin Springs? Are you all from here? No? What is it?
Nearby.
Nearby. What isn't, right? Franklin, it's like a doorstop, Franklin. It's, and now we're here now. I don't know. Where are you from exactly? Livonia. Yeah. Upgrade, apparently. Yes. Feels good, doesn't it? Feels good to laugh. You know why? Because I believe that laughter is a gift from God. Amen. I do. That's right. Amen. That's right. Got my Georgia people going, amen. Somebody's going to be watching this DVD in California going, what did they say? What are these strange words coming from the mouth? He's found an ancient cult somewhere in Georgia where they speak a language of forgotten words. Sometimes I make myself laugh and then you have to pay me. That's how it works. If I was to ask you, why are you here? You would say that reason. I'm here to laugh. Because laughter feels good. Why? Because it allows you to experience something that is unique to humans, joy. A transcendent idea outside of molecular structure that is given to us by God, who I believe in, who I believe has constantly given us echoes and shadows, that he's not only real, but that human beings are his crowning achievement. And he's always given us these little clues to prove it's true. And laughter's one of them, my brother. Laughter's one of them. You know how I know that? Because in the entire universe, the only thing that laughs is people. It's just ours. Sun doesn't laugh, molecules don't laugh, animals don't laugh, animals don't laugh. That's why we eat them. You frown, you're going down. That's just the deal, my friends. We had to decide who was going to be eaten and who wasn't. And in the beginning, we got along. Men and animals got along. Everything was good. Cow would get up in the morning. What are we going to do today, Adam? Ping pong? Okay. I do have a little problem with that paddle, though, I might add, but I'll try. Because he had a hoof, and so it was rough for him to deal. That's why Adam dominated cow in the paddle department. Couldn't grip anything. He didn't know he was a stupid cow. Why does this keep slipping out, Adam? Because you're a stupid cow. Doesn't matter, but they were getting along. And then suddenly sin came into the world, and animals became meat. That had to be confusing for the animals, don't you think? Just yesterday, they were having fun. He gets up. What are you going to do today? New game? Butcher shop. How do you play? What's the shotgun for, Adam? What am I saying? Do you actually believe in those archaic ideas of sin and God? I do indeed. I do indeed. Why? Because that's what we're here for today. You thought it was for laughter? No, it's for something else. Why are we here as humans? That's really the ultimate question, isn't it? Why are we here? And we are going to find that answer out by looking at the most powerful three-letter word in the history of human beings. God. What? I've come to laugh, not to listen to God things. I might even break into a cell phone conversation if you go into that. I can't go anywhere without my cell phone because I'm so dang important that for me to miss a call from somebody would be devastating to their life. What I love is she's scared to death. Her fiance's like, yeah, I know. I can't believe it either. Yeah, get used to it, son. This is how it works. They just bring stuff that never belonged. And you can't say anything because you're the guy. And if you say something, you're wrong. So hang on, son. We're going to talk about God. Why do I say that? Why does it matter to me? I'll tell you why. Because it's the ultimate question. It really is. You see, there's really only two ways to look at it. There's God or there's not. But how you answer that question affects every question you will ever ask for the rest of your life. Every person you vote for, every person you try to marry, every time you want to have kids, every time you want to know what kind of political system to get involved with, every time you want to know who to give to, it's all based on one idea, God, and how you chose or didn't choose him. Why? Because that's all there is to life. There's either a God, and if there is, then you have to figure out who he is and what he wants because he's the rule maker. And if you don't believe in God, then you make up your own rules, and it works out great unless somebody else has different rules and a gun. You see, if there's no God, then whoever's in power gets to destroy others, and you can't say a thing about it because there's no morals. You see, it matters what you believe about God, and that's why we're going to talk about it. But to get talking about God, it's not easy, son, because he's big. He's vast. Consequently, you have to go find him in very unusual ways. How? Might have to use some big words. Big words to find God. Kind of words you find in books. How old are you? 16. Said books, and 16's over here like, books, I read about books on the internet. In the olden days, when you could actually pick the books up and smell them. And they weren't called Kindle. Kindle. All of us are laughing. He's still going, what? Kindle good, book bad. Glad you sat up front, 16. You're in for a long ride tonight, son. All right, so here we go. Got to use some big words, do we? What do I mean by big words? Words that are deep. Why? Because if God's real, he's going to be gigantic, and we're not going to use lazy words. Not lazy words. That's what's happened to this country. There was a time when we were so articulate. Even the 14-year-olds could write prose, but not now. There are people in this country so stinking lazy. They want to use words without even letters. They just want a sound with a downward lilt. Want one of those? Mm-mm. There are people that go, mm-mm, because they find using a two-letter word, no, too intrusive, too difficult for their tongue to wrap around. Oh. Can't I just go, That's what they do. Sound, downward lilt. Want one? Mm-mm. If you do want one, same sound, upward lilt. Want one of those? Mm-hmm. Want one? Mm. Want one? Mm-hmm. Want one? Mm. Want one? Mm-hmm. Not sure. Take the same sound, run it down the middle. Want one of those? That's right. I just said, and you knew what that meant. Welcome to Kindle World, 16. I'll tell you the ultimate lazy word. Are you ready? I'll use my water bottle. Here it is. Oops. Oops. I love oops, the ultimate scapegoat word. It's a word that blames gravity when you mess up. Hey, you dropped the water. No, that was gravity's fault. That's a big oops right there. Had it been up to me, it would have just hovered, but no, gravity had to say, look what I can do. I can suck it right down. Had to get all Isaac Newton-y and say, look how powerful I am. I can suck her on down. That's what oops stands for. It's an acronym for, oh, our planet's spinning. So keep that in mind. Oh, Lordy. Ah, this place is nice, isn't it? What is this? Pillars? I feel like I'm in a cartoon. Spider-Man, look out! That was for you, 16. He's all happy. I've heard of Spider-Man. He's not in a book. He's in the movies. Oh, boy. All right, we said we're going to talk about God, so we're going to. It's the ultimate question. It's the ultimate idea. Now, for us to do that, we have to discover what would God want us to be and do. What do I mean? We look at the word God, 3 letters, G-O-D. The G reminds us of the word Genesis. Why? The first thing you always have to understand when it comes to God. What were things supposed to be like before we messed them up? That's what we're going to find out. Because to find out about God is hard. There's only 3 ways to do it. 1, revelation. If God's real, he'd give us a book. Tell us a little bit about himself. Give it to us and say, read that. Good luck. Comes in Kindle. Number 2, how do we know how we found God? Creation, that's right. If you look at the universe, there's lots of space out there, but the only thing that has human beings with cognitive skills, the ability to use inductive and deductive reasoning, the ability to actually look at the universe, the only thing that's doing that is people. So we either can look at this earth and say, aha, an amazing creation by God to let us see that we're the ultimate creation in the universe, or big accident. We just happen to appear. That's the difference. Creation. I look at it and see the beauty of it. See, because only those who believe in God get to have poetry and music, because it makes sense. It's transcendent. It's beautiful. The atheist, the Darwinist, gets nothing. It's just molecules in motion, dancing to their own DNA. That's what Richard Dawkins said, one of the new atheists. What a genius. They're just molecules with no value systems whatsoever. But remember this. Remember it well. Creation gives us significance. Of course, there's those who don't think they need God. We don't need no God. We invented computers. God's like, that's good. I invented air. But anyways. Yes, sir. Came up with gravity. That's all I'm saying right now. I'm just saying. But nice job on the incandescent bulb. Yeah. Ooh, it's bright. Yeah. Oh, the sun. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That was a little overkill. I know. All right. How else do we find God? What else would he be? Well, here's where we really get to find him. If you really want to know God, he's in the most amazing parts that you find him. The where he's most significantly found is in the mystical places. Because if God is who you would think he is, bigger than anything we can think of, then you'd have to communicate with him differently than when you would a human, because he's not like us. You'd have to speak to him in a language different than the ones we would use together. We'd call it prayer. You'd have to hear and feel and smell and taste and touch him in a different way than we do with empirical evidence. We'd call it faith. It'd be a different way of seeing. And in that experience of seeking him out, we'd find out things that we may not even want to hear, but if he's the rule maker, we've got to listen. I've done some studies, my friends. I've found out some things about God. Whether you like it or not, God is a guy. Look, all the ladies are laughing. The dudes are like, dear, may I laugh as well at that? And all the young marrieds get that little elbow thing. All the guys married over 30 years, they got a callus. They don't even feel that anymore. God is a guy. How do we know that? Evidence, that's right. God isn't just faith alone. Empirical evidence can help us find the very God that gave us the ability to think about him. Number one, we know he's a guy because he always calls himself Father. And up until year 2012, that was normally considered a dude. I know. Who thought that was going to get complicated? How else do we know God's a guy? Because everything he invented, he said, was good. Look what I made! And this is before duct tape, 16, I'll tell you right now. Matter of fact, if God used duct tape, he would have used a real duck. Because he's God. How else do we know God's a guy? Because he worked hard for 6 days and then took a nap. On Sunday, so he could watch the game. Look, I've made people. Here's the rule book. Oh, fumble. And lastly, how do I know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that God Almighty is not only real, but he's a guy? Because he invented women. And they were naked. Only a guy would have come up with that one. Look, got a couple Southern Baptists snuck in. I don't believe he said naked. I thought this was a Christian comedy show and he said naked. I'm trying to have pure thoughts and now I have naked people stuck in my head. All I can see is naked people dancing through tulips and clovers. Everywhere I go is naked people stuck in my head. Why would he say naked? And God said it was good. Yes, sir, my brother. There's a man that knows what naked's all about. It's the way it's supposed to be, and it's still good, I might add. God bless you. Don't you understand, my friends? Don't you understand when you looked at Genesis, the first thing God said was good was life. I made life. You get to go forth and live now. That's why nobody gets to take this life. I take it because it's mine. That's what makes us unique. And men are different. Men are different. He took the dirt and said he made men from dirt. He just put a bunch of dirt together and made men. But then he did something unique that fits into the way that we see life. It said he breathed life into his nostrils and he became a living soul. At that moment, we could think. We could reason ahead. We could be aware of our existence. We could be aware that we not exist. We suddenly were like God. He gave us a little land and a little place to live and to act as though he's still in control. He runs it. But he said, go, create. But it wasn't enough, right? I thought in the beginning it was all good. Isn't that what Genesis said? It was good in the beginning? No! Wrong! Should have had a cell phone. You could have Googled it. God said it's good to made sun, good to made water, good to made fish, good to made animals, but it is not good that man should be alone. Do you understand the difference there, son? Do you understand what I'm saying? 16, there was the man. He said, it's not enough. It's not enough. I've got to make her. And he pulled from our rib and he created a woman. He fashioned a womb man. From man's womb she came. That's right, men were the first ones to give birth. Then we stepped back, observed our handiwork, and said, okay, ladies, you can take it from here. My work is done. I'm going to take a nap. You see, at that moment, he said life was significant, unique, and we're made in his image. But he also said that we need man and woman, two shapes of God, that when they come together, become one. Mysterious, miraculous. But what I said always echoes, always shadows that he's real. One man, single and unique. One woman, single and unique. He said when they come together, become one. Only when they come together can another human being come into existence. Separate and unique from the two, but equal to both. You see, three in one. Individual, but together. It's called the Trinity, another echo of the God experience, if you see. That's how it works, son. And it was different. He said after she was made, it's very good. Think of that, ladies. The universe was not complete without you. See, we're different. God knew immediately that we would have different needs and desires. You'll find this out when you marry. Trust me on this. You'll be coming to me begging with tears rolling down your chest. Give me some insight into the woman's brain, and I'll say, Think of that. You don't think men and women are different? God looked at the universe and said it's missing one thing, and he made woman. God looked at man, said he's missing one thing, and he gave him a naked lady. Still got some people confused. It's in the Bible. Well, I don't know, we should talk about stuff like that. What if kids hear? Maybe they should hear. If we don't talk about it in church, then we're going to talk about it in school. And let me tell you one thing about church. We're supposed to tell them that this is a sacred covenant. It's so holy and special, miraculous, that you can indulge in it with great joy and gusto. But I do have some parameters that I expect and demand of you. It's worth that much. But if we don't do that, then the schools will just say, just make it easy. You're just animals in a field. It matters what you believe about God. This is what's exciting, 16, and I'm telling you, God's still handing out naked ladies. But they're very expensive. You want to have one? I'll tell you what God charges. You ready? Marry her. Never, ever, ever divorce. Commit your life to her, protect her, honor her, defend her, and watch over her until you die. That's what God charges. And if you're willing to put in that kind of sacrifice, son, it's worth it. I've had my naked lady for 19 years. And it's very good. I don't believe it. They're confused. Shall we be telling this to 16-year-olds? See, the older men are looking like, very interesting theological God. He's got a smile going to the back of his head. You should see me. He's like, tell me more of this Genesis. And the women therein. Son, your desires are from God. They're good, they're natural, and they should be pursued with great gusto. But he says it's so invaluable that you must commit your life to her. And ladies, if you're not expecting that price for yourself, you don't care about yourself as much as God Almighty does. That's what it's worth. Does anybody teach that anymore? Not in schools. Nope. You got to come to the comedian show. How pathetic. God in heaven's going, I got to stinking use Stine now to teach these things. This is unbelievable. So we go to explore the G in Genesis to discover what was things supposed to be like in the beginning. If this is true, what was it supposed to look like? What are we celebrating? Life, marriage. And here's the interesting thing. Even for those who out there who are Darwinists, dying the how Darwinists, evolution, accident, the metaphysics of science. If you think that it's not metaphysical, you're wrong. They're making gigantic leaps of faith because they don't want to believe in God. Yet they celebrate the echoes and the shadows and the clues of reality that he started, and they don't know it. What am I talking about? What did he first celebrate? Life. What do we celebrate all the time? Birthdays. I just had a surprise 75th birthday party for my mom, and she was shocked because she's 60. But well, she's already getting that short-term memory loss. That's all I'm getting at. And so if I'm spending big money on the 75th, I'll do it now so she can remember. And then if she ever makes it to 75 and says, can I have a party? I can say, it was this morning, you know. But look at the people. He's being so mean to his mother. How do you know she didn't deserve it? My mother was evil. She used to feed me something called casserole. Casserole, French word, it means mom didn't shop, apparently. Every night. My mom was rummaging through the leftovers trying to whip me up a casserole. Every night. She's whipping through all the leftovers trying to find me a casserole. If you're a mom, I love you. Quick tip. You know why we have leftovers? We didn't want it the first time. Otherwise, they'd be called all goners. So suddenly this stinking peach pie and lima bean concoction with the liver stinking ain't gonna fly. Mothers knew we didn't like casseroles, so they give it a fancy name to make it sound better than it actually is, to make it sound exotic. We're having goulash. casserole. That's the original pronunciation from the Latin Vulgate Aramaic translation, goulash. Yes, casserole is Latin nauseous vomitus theropus. Because it was weird. I don't know if you guys have it here in Georgia. It was like smashed up meat with macaroni and some kind of rubber barf-looking cheese. Some kind of skin-looking, burn ward-looking, what the heck is smashed up food? I tell her, I can't eat the smashed food, Mother. I can't eat the smashed food, Mother. She said that, Mom, thing you eat like a bird. You eat like a bird. I'm thinking it's because you chew up my food before you give it to me. She got mad, washed my mouth out with soap. Now let me explain something to you. In the year 2012, I believe in discipline. I believe that every child should grow up with the idea that every choice he makes will have a consequence, good or bad. I believe in the simple concept that once in a while you need to be punished, not in a beating way or an evil way, but in a way that lets you know there's a price to pay. I'd rather give you a SWAT at 5 than look for a bail bondsman at 15. It's not complicated. But it's how we look at things now. But it should be rational. That's all I'm saying. She stuck soap in my mouth, which is poison. And then she'd become a pragmatist. Oh, it works. It works. Well, then why stop there? Why not use all the cleaning products from under the sink? They help the children. We'll have different soaps for different sins. Dirty word, soap in the mouth. Up, read a dirty magazine. Comet in the eyes. There you go. Ouch! Ouch! I'm ready for my goulash now, Mother. It was how it was. It was a celebration of birth. A celebration of life. But what do we call it? A birthday. Do you understand what I'm saying? Birthday. You get one day. You're born once. Then get out of the way. More people are coming. It's amazing to me. Even being born once is not that. It's wonderful and we celebrate it, but lots of people have been born. When we get born, we want all kinds of gifts. You didn't even do anything. You just popped out and started screaming at everybody. Don't you understand? In the beginning, God celebrated life. He gave us life. That's what a birthday is. That's what it's called, a birthday, not birthdays. Kids got greedy. They did. They got born and we are excited. There they are. Good for them. Then another year went by and they wanted more stuff because they were still here. Apparently that's what birthdays celebrate. You haven't died yet. And they want stuff. And then they want us to be amazed. Look, he's still here. Give him a cake. But that's our selfish nature. We want a bunch of stuff because here we are. Crying out loud, you're born, your parents did all the work. They're the ones that pick you up, clean you up. They're the ones that pick up your puke and your stinking dirty diapers. They're the ones that give you the medicine and try to watch over you so you don't get run over by a bus or a truck, try to teach you how to drive your car and give you money even though you could care less and treat them with disrespect and then take off and live your own life. Or for crying out loud, if anybody deserves a present on your birthday, it's your parents. But we give because we want to celebrate life. But it gets expensive. You should have one. And then get out of the way. Yeah, we want more every time. We tried to stop it, but we didn't know how to do it. Do it subtly. What should we do? Well, when they have a party, make them wear a hat with a pointy top. It'll make them look like idiots. What do you mean? Just wear a coney top. They'll look like idiots. Yeah. Boys didn't care. They made beaks out of them. They're boys. Hispanic community tried it, fill their favorite animal with candy and have them beat the crud out of it with a baseball bat. They'll be traumatized. Blindfold them. We tried to come up with ideas. That's what the candles are. When there's too many to blow out, it's time to go. But we still continue to celebrate and give. Because that's what it is. Life. 16 knows. 16 knows. It's a good age, 16. You know what you know at 16? Nothing! You're an idiot, is what I'm getting at. When's your birthday? What? Who did that? The people that don't know the ladies, like, she did it right here. Thank you, Judas. Here's your silver. Run off. You've done well. See how ladies are. Kid was born. She said, oh, he was born. That's so sweet. Are your parents with you? That's your dad. All right, man. You got your son here, huh? 16. Where's your mom? She here? She lives in Athens. All right. You know why she lives in Athens? Because you're 16. I'll tell you one thing about women, though, especially moms. Your mother carried your son for 9 months. 16 years ago today, your mom was going, bring me my husband and a baseball bat. It was beautiful. Keep that in mind, son. Next time. Where was I talking about? G-Genesis, that's what I was talking about. You see, because in G-Genesis, what we learned was this: celebration of life, celebration of marriage. It was established in the beginning. We don't have to figure it out. Or we're just accidents. We're just big accidents. What else, though? What else did God want to give us in Genesis? Another celebration of what? Holidays. That's right. On the seventh day, he rested. He said, let's take special days and let's remind the future generations that something amazing happened here once. Don't forget. Don't forget. We have those holidays here in the United States, not realizing God started it in Genesis, like the 4th of July. See, I think some holidays are more gender specific, don't you? I mean, we all get to play, but 4th of July is a guy holiday. Not that we don't want the ladies, but it's the one day a year where we're not only asked, but expected to blow something up. And I love that, and I tell you that because for most of my life, I grew up in California on the 4th of July. That's right, California, the most wussified state in the United stinking States of America. If there's any state that's going to take the Founding Fathers' original intent of the Constitution and turn it on its head and take everything that they desire to become their right because they don't have the discipline to give back to more than what they want to take, it's going to be California. They keep threatening to break off and fall in the ocean, but they never do. I mean, I don't want them to die. Just want them to float away. Go start your own island of misfit toys. Say hi to the Ninth Circuit on the way around Hawaii. I'm telling you, it was embarrassing to be a man on the 4th of July in California because they are so wussified. They are so completely embedded in this political correct Marxist nonsense that makes you into this wussified, spineless piece of junk. Oh, kids, get 57 feet away from the fireworks and put on these safety goggles and get behind this plexiglass shield and avert your eyes and don't look directly in the flame. Daddy's lighting a snake pellet. I'm telling you, this is what passes for the 4th of July in California. Do you hear me, men? I tell you this with great gusto and joy that 9 years ago I moved my family from California to Nashville, Tennessee. I became one of you all. I tell you that because I went out to grab my fireworks that first year and realized immediately I had found testosterone nirvana. When I bought my fireworks and they came with a mortar tube. With a package the size of my fist, 15 inches of fuse, just enough time to leap into the neighbor's bushes. I had to buy 5 hoses to wrap around my stinking house to prepare a week in advance. You want to know the difference between the 4th in California and Tennessee? Here's California. Tennessee. old-timers trying to join in. They can't even give you thumbs up anymore. That's what I'm talking about. Woo! That ain't nothing. When we were your age, we used to hold them. That is the South. Good people that believe in states' rights and believe in traditions. God bless them. But ladies, don't feel left out. God gave you a holiday as well. Who would forget the fairer sex? He gave you that special holiday that's just for you. You call it the holiday of romance. We call it the holiday of extortion. Look at that. There's not even a punchline. Every guy's going, oh, Valentine's. Why? Because everything they tell you to buy for Valentine's is for girls. Nothing wrong with the girls. We don't get anything. We certainly don't get jack for the 4th of July. I want an engine block next 4th of July. That's what I want. I want a Glock, 2 clips, hollow points. That's what I'm looking for. Heck, 4th of July, at least we give you a hot dog. We don't get nothing. Unbelievable. What do they tell you to buy? Cards, candy, flowers, diamonds. Every year, diamonds. What are you, pirates? It's another year. I want more diamonds. Arr! Unbelievable. And it's such a girl holiday. And there's really, frankly, a man couldn't participate properly in Valentine's because we don't get it. Cards. Guys don't care about cards. I'm going to save you a trip to the Hallmark store, ladies. Don't buy us cards. We don't want cards. We don't need cards. We don't like cards. We don't even read cards. The only reason we even open cards is to see if there's money inside. I'm telling you. Take the paper, fold in half, stick a 50 inside. We're good. Unbelievable. Women actually read the cards. And they're moved. I was thinking of you today on this special... It means you're thinking about me on this, like we wrote it. This has been the hardest time for us all these years, giving you a card without cracking up. Honey, this was what I was going to write, but it was already printed there. By some other guy. From Korea. They read it. I was thinking of you, and they just get so, it's just... What it means is you took a special time to pick out just the right card just for me. You know me so well. Here's how we pick out cards. They're all the same to us. But it means something to you because you're different. You're different. Candy. That's a tricky one. When they're younger, they ate a lot of candy. You get married, things change. You can give her candy, but it's got to be on the right occasion. And she's got to be feeling good about herself. When is that time? Sometimes candy becomes an insult. Are you saying I'm fat? No. We don't know. Because suddenly, candy's bad. See, women suddenly get married, and then suddenly everything that you eat, they're going to tell you what is good and what is bad. We're just going to have broccoli, and we're going to have asparagus, and we're going to have Brussels sprouts, and Diet Coke, because we're not going to have anything bad. I want you to eat good and healthy stuff Valentine's Day. Candy! And then they make you feel guilty. If you love me, you'd give me candy. It's not good for you. If I loved you, I'd give you a box of broccoli. There you go. That's good. Hey, here's your 14 carrots right here, sweetheart. That's what I'm saying. Comes with a card. All right. No money. No, it's all right. There are ladies. We do the best we can. We fail. We make mistakes. We blunder. But fear not. Fear not. God knew that we wouldn't understand their mind and we'd make horrible and tactical errors. And so he invented a female mind eraser to make everything better, no matter what bad thing you do. Of course, I'm speaking of flowers. Flowers make everything better. Women love flowers. They adore flowers. They can't get enough flowers. You know why? Me neither. Because guys know what flowers are. Dead plants. That's why men always leave flowers in the ground, so everybody can enjoy them and have the experience. Women are ruthless. Oh, they are so beautiful. Cut them down, bring them inside. They're starting to wilt. It's okay. I've got a vase with water and special powder, so they appear to be alive. It's like embalming fluid. I'm telling you, flowers are women's version of hunting. They're ruthless. I tell you that because they get mad at men for hunting. Why? Because guys hunt deer, right? Girl sees deer, she sees Bambi. We see a deer, we see BAM! Different thing. Now they get mad at us. You hunt deer, you are so mean. Well, you hunt flowers. At least I only hunt stuff that has a chance to run away. You go after these poor defenseless flowers because they have no feet. And then you cut them down and bring them in because you can't hear them scream. Help me. Help me. Oil can. Just threw that one in. Flowers are dead. Why would you give a dead thing to anybody? I don't know. But you're girls, and we do it. Because we love you. And it's part of the celebration of holidays. Because in the beginning, in Genesis, God said, celebrate life. You're made in my image. Do not take life. I will take it. Secondly, marriage. Never disrupt it. Never recreate it. Never deconstruct it. Keep together. Stay together. Have children and make it beautiful. Thirdly, holidays, special occasions. Set it aside and celebrate as a community. What else did God celebrate? Animals! They're given to us for food, for clothing. And if you've lost spouses, sometimes it's given them great comfort. It's a wonderful gift from God. You should love animals, but they're not your children. If you believe in God, there's a hierarchy. He made animals first, and then he made us, and he said, hey, have dominion over them. Treat them well. Be nice to them. But only humans are made in my image. Or you believe in Darwin. You've accepted Charles Darwin into your heart as your Lord and Savior. So evolution means that the animals are in fact equal to you. If you believe in evolution, you can't have pets because you're equal and you own them. Isn't that slavery? You see, it matters what you believe about God. Funny to me, too, because people love them, and you should. You just don't lose perspective. I've seen people do it. There's little puppies, and they're like, oh, they're my kids. What? They're my kids. Your kids puke on the carpet and eat it? That's weird. Okay, why is your kid dragging her butt up and down the swing? I want to know. Huh? Maybe put a diaper on the kid, because that's stinking weird, lady. I'm just saying right now. Shave its face. I want to see who it looks like if that's your kid. I love it when people that have animals do evil things to them, but they give it nice words to trick the animal into thinking it's being nice. Oh, we had him fixed. We had him fixed. No, you had him broken, really. Yeah, no, he was working fine till you got a hold of him, I'll tell you right now. Yes, sir, he's no good. Well, we had to put him to sleep. Okay, no, you put him to dead, really, is what you did. Wake him up, I'll show you what I'm talking about. There's the difference. Okay. That's what you call putting to sleep. Remind me not to let you babysit my kids. Can you do me that? Unbelievable. Difference in who they are, what they look like, what they're about. They're animals. Good, special. We can own them because they're below us. I wanted to have a pet growing up. My dad wouldn't get me. Never would get me a pet. You know what I had? I had a fish for like a week. threw in the ping pong ball, got the fish. I was 8. I didn't know what to do. He was in the water. I figured he was cold all the time. I'd bring him out, let him dry off now and again. I didn't. He loved it. He would just dance. It's my favorite part of the whole show. Right there. No, crying out loud. You know what I wanted? I wanted a dog. I'm a boy. I got to have a dog. You know what I asked for my dad? Give me a dog. You know what he gave me? Silent dog whistle. Silent stinking dog whistle. You know what those are? Right? You know what it is, right? This is Georgia. Anybody? 16? Any ideas? No. Look at it. No. Not more questions! See, silent dog whistle, I used to buy these in the back of comic books. You could buy a comic book for like a dime. Not that long ago. And they had, the back section had the coolest things. You wouldn't believe. See, you think you're modern? Nothing. I could buy a submarine, $2. Submarine! X-ray specs, 50 cents. Put on these glasses. You could look right through and see people's bones. What? Isn't that why all the boys bought the X-ray specs? So they could do anthropology? Who knows what a stinking silent dog whistle is? Just the... What is it?
It's a silent dog whistle. You can't hear it, but the dogs can.
That's it. That's all. Silent dog whistle. That's what it is. If you don't know what it is, you blow into it, and it will create this sort of hyper supersonic sound that human beings cannot actually pick up on, but dogs can, and they're supposed to come a-running. And by the way, if you ever had a silent dog whistle, the first thing you found out immediately was, it doesn't work! It never worked! And it occurred to me one day, some guy has been making millions of dollars off of a whistle you can't hear. Is it me, or is this the longest-running scam in product development history? This guy should have had a whole product line of worthless junk if we're that kind of a rube. Hey, it's a new flashlight with no bulb. Finally, a flashlight designed for daytime use only. It's a whistle you can't hear. You wouldn't even know if it was broken. Anyways, I thought about it, and I thought, wait a minute. If it emits a ultrasonic sound that only dogs can hear, maybe it scares them. If you heard some weird whistle come out of the ethers, maybe it frightens you, and you'd run the other way. Maybe that's what's happening. I say that because I think dogs have their own version. Have you ever been minding your own business and suddenly your ears start ringing? Did you ever investigate? Maybe it's a silent dog whistle for people. Wouldn't that be ironic? You're in a party, mind your own business. Run outside, there's a chihuahua with a new toy. But what it did allow me to understand was that they were different than me. They're animals. They were for me to enjoy, to take care of, to be proficient, with how to tend to them. They weren't my relatives at all. That's where it matters how you see the God experience. There are people that will actually tell you that apes are your cousin. Does that offend anybody? Have you ever seen apes in the wilderness? They throw poop at each other. You know what happened if my cousin suddenly started throwing poop at me? He'd be institutionalized. We'd put him in a special place where you could visit, but you'd be too far away to be hit by poop. We'd call it the zoo, where apes actually live. You see, it matters what you think and believe. If you are a Darwinist, and there may be some here today, then you have to accept the conclusion that Darwinism has to give you. What is that? That everything you look at and hold dear is an accident. And even those who you love is just your DNA tricking you into survival. There is no love. Can't exist. Because love isn't molecular. It's just an instinct. It's not even real. Think of that repercussion. The evolutionist, if he was consistent, would have to look at the sunset and say, look at that mass gaseous explosion. Only the theist gets to say, look at the sunset. The atheist gets to say, look at that gigantic mound of minerals and dirt and rocks piled upon itself with crystallized water. Only the theist can say, look at the mountains. Only we get poetry and music. Remember, Darwinism is all about survival. There would never be music if I could find you. Plus, it's hard to run away from a guy chasing you if you're wearing a tuba. You die. It's about survival. Only just survival. Raw instinct. No purpose. No value. No mind before matter. You are worthless and meaningless, and when you die, who cares? That's what you get. I wish evolutionists would simply be consistent. If you really believe it, then allow it to continue. Will you quit throwing these beach whales back in the ocean? They're trying to evolve. That has to be so frustrating for them. They finally make it to the beach. Hey, maybe I can get some hands going here. What are you doing? No. They take this beautiful creation of God Almighty and say it's worthless and meaningless, but yet it exists and it works. Let's deconstruct it and see how it accidentally came to being. I love it when they come up with these other concepts. After millions of years, it evolved camouflage so it could evade its captors. After millions of years, what did it do in the meantime? Reason with its captors? Hey, just a twig. Did you hear the concept? After millions of years, it evolved camouflage to evade its predators. If it took millions of years, apparently it didn't need it. That's a good dang track record, if you ask me. If evolution is true, it should still be happening. If it's all about survival, why haven't we evolved wings yet? We keep falling off of cliffs. All we came up with was screaming. Ah! That doesn't help you survive. It just tells the survivors where the pieces went. I said Genesis. Why? Because you're Christian, of course. You're a Christian. You must come up with Genesis, but we do not believe. No, because everybody has a Genesis story. Everybody. Theist, atheist, Buddhist, agnostic, deist, Hindu, Muslim, everybody has a beginning. You have to. It's the ultimate meaning. Why am I here? You don't have to believe in God, but is he rational and does he seem to be consistent with the way we see life? In my story of Genesis, God actually tells me the meaning of life in the first sentence. In the beginning, there was a beginning. It started at one point. God, there was a mind before matter. Before the beginning, there was something that already existed. Makes sense. Created. He wanted us here. He was there, decided he wanted people, and he created them from nothing. The heavens, plural, and the earth. Earth, a place of habitation where we can look at a gigantic galaxy and say, there's nothing like us here. The only thing in the galaxy that's looking at the galaxy is people. Sun's not looking at us. Nothing looks at us. Only we have this instinct to be in God's image, to look at things. Look, it's amazing. Look, we can provide and live here. Atheist has to say, evolutionist has to say, it's just an accident. Who can live like that? Who does live like life is meaningless and nihilistic? That's what you have to do if you believe it. But they don't. They live like there's love and goodness, and they listen to music and listen to poetry. Hypocrites. It's not yours. It's for the God believers. You're just molecules in motion that got too big for your britches and became self-aware. We have 5 senses, so we make empirical validation based on 5 senses. 3 dimensions is all we can see. God, being ultra-dimensional, would have happened, all of them simultaneously. Consequently, we wouldn't be able to see him the way we see other things. We'd have to use a special way of seeing called faith, and we have to speak in a way different than we speak to people called prayer. It would be that way. Why? Because God would be that big. And science is a wonderful gift that God gave us that Christians invented, from Isaac Newton to Kepler. All Christians who did not find it difficult to reconcile science and God. They simply thought that God allowed them to create science because science was simply a way of saying, let's see what God has done. But atheists have a Genesis story. You have to. Have to start somewhere. But they're doctorates and double doctorates. They're educators. They speak at Oxford, and they write books. They're atheists and believe in a meaningless universe, and then they write 500-page books describing the meaningless universe and find meaning in their conclusions. They have a Genesis story, but theirs comes from reason and rationale. Not in this invisible God in the sky. We believe only empirical reasoning, and those are things that we can verify. Things that are smart and intelligent and rational. Ours is simple. It goes like this. In the beginning, there was nothing, and it blew up. If you want to believe in that, that is your privilege. But do not believe that you are not making a metaphysical claim. You have just walked into the world of faith. Why? Because it's true? No, because you refuse to believe in God. But wait a minute, you might say. If you're telling me in Genesis that we were supposed to celebrate life and we existed, and then we got to celebrate man and woman together, making children together, and then we get to celebrate special days and holidays that we set aside to look at the great things that happen and get to transform the garden and use it and eat it and have animals to participate in and make civilizations and create and have justice and mercy and do these wonderful things, but that's not what the world's like. There's cancer. And there's evil, and there's death, and there's war, and there's lying, and there's terrible things that happen to innocent children. If that's what God's like, he's either evil or he doesn't exist. But there's an O in God's name to remind us it is our fault. He made the rules. Remember, he's the rule maker. And he said, here's the deal. If you don't obey the rules, there's a punishment. We didn't obey the rules, and only now, only in this day and age, would someone make the rules, we disobey them, and then complain because they held us accountable. Let me explain something to you. If you're in a burning room, and there's only one door out, and it's locked, and I say, I've got the key, and you can't get out. And you said, no, I'll find a window. I'll go through the roof. I'll dig a moat through the bottom. I want out. Here's the key. I don't want your key. How dare you tell me I need your key? Who do you think you are to tell me that only your key works? And you burn to death. Whose fault is it? Yes, I don't believe in a God who would throw anybody into hell. Well, then good. Believe in the Christian God. He throws no one into hell. He just gets out of the way and allows you to complete the journey that you've chosen. You see, that's what he told us from the beginning. You're all going to hell. That's why I gave you a way out. You don't want it? Don't blame me. Welcome to personal responsibility. What are you talking about? Because in the beginning, it was good, and we messed up, and we're part of the lineage of that group of people. We brought on this earth what was never supposed to be here. Death! Why do you think we hate it so much? Because we weren't designed to die. Freaks us out. We don't even like looking at dead people. Do you want to look at dead people? Why do they make us look at dead people? They're creepy. Crying out loud. Then they stick him in a casket. That's where Dracula lives. This is wrong. You know, if somebody fell dead right now, right outside there, we'd cover them up. Why? So you don't have to view them. Then we clean them up, put them in a suit, stick them in a coffin, and say, now go view them. I don't like it. They try to make it nice. Trying to make it palatable. Hey, we'll do it in a home. We'll have it in a funeral home. Don't worry, it'll be in a home. You know what? I've got a home. There's hardly ever a dead guy in there. Matter of fact, if there was a dead guy in my home 16, I'd make you go in and get him out. Hey, there's a dead guy. Get him out of my house. I want to go home. I hate funeral homes. As soon as you walk in, there's too many doors. I never know which one has the dead guy. Is he in there? That's the restroom. What said man? I thought they stacked them up. I don't know what happens. Finally find that special door. There's the dead guy. Okay, there he is. This is terrible. I hate it. Can I leave now? No, you've got to go view him. What? I can see him from here. No, you've got to go up and pay your respects by staring at the dead guy. He doesn't care. Get up there! No one knows what to say. You start babbling because it's so ridiculously awkward. Yes, he looks so natural. That's what he looked like naturally. Might have been the first clue something's wrong with Grandpa. When he started stiffening up. Crying out loud, here comes the next group. They don't know what to say. They sound like bigger idiots. He looks like he's sleeping. Grandpa slept in a suit? With his glasses on? I didn't know that. I love it when they say that. Strangers will say that. He looks like he's sleeping. What does strangers know what I look like when I'm asleep? Is this happening? Am I going to bed at night and my neighbors are walking through my house? Where is he? There he is. I can't see him, Mommy. There he is, Tommy. Look at him. He looks like he's dead. Always some weird music playing. What is that music? It was his favorite. It was his favorite. How ironic. The one guy that liked this song, the only guy not here to enjoy it. Hey, listen, I got to stare at a dead guy. Can you play a song I might want to listen to, please? Something to get me through this ordeal of staring at the dead guy. Maybe slap on a little Lady Gaga to get me through this stinking deal, huh? Poker face, poker face. And you don't get any gifts for dying because you failed. Is he still here? No. No cake for you. We don't give you anything for dying. Well, that's not true. We will give you flowers. You see, because it's always about pride. It really is about pride. It ultimately always comes back to, I will be God. And that's why even our technology, which is a beautiful thing, can be misused for just ourselves and our selfishness. I see it with the kids all the time. See with the kids and they're texting. Look at my texting. Look, I'm talking to people. You know, there was a time when you got in a crowd like this, you had to go up and meet everybody and be a community. No, I got my own person right here, my own hand. I don't want you. I just got my texting. And they just are so smug. Look at me. I can text so fast. I can do like 1 billion words a minute. Oh, how did you survive without texting, Father? And I'm like going, hey, you're typing on a telephone. They don't even make typewriters anymore. You're going backwards. Here's how we used to communicate before they put a thinking keypad on a phone. Hello? Yeah, you could actually hear the words. Why? Because I don't want to listen to your stinking conversation. This is what you don't understand, kids. When I was thinking young, we wanted to talk in front of a bunch of people. We could, but you had to do it in a special place called a phone booth. You had to close the stinking door so I didn't have to hear your stinking insipid conversation. And if you had the audacity to want to walk around amongst the rest of us, you couldn't, because we put a leash on it so you couldn't get out of the box. That's what we see all night. Hey, what's going on? What's happening? They invade your space. It's so rude, and they don't even see that. I've seen people in restaurants. What's happening? I don't even see who they're talking to. That's the rule. If I can't see who you're talking to, you can't talk to them. We didn't used to let people have conversations with invisible people. We didn't used to do that. We used to lock you up for that kind of nonsense. I'll get right in front of their face, just stare like this close to them. They'll get all like I'm rude. Hey, what are you doing staring at me? Well, if you can have a conversation with somebody I can't see, I can have a conversation with you in my mind. And talk about lazy. This is what technology can do. Makes you lazy. You'd think you'd be excited and happy and content that you can reach in your pocket, take out a little device, push a couple buttons, and talk to Hong Kong immediately. You'd think that'd be enough, but no. They complain, yes, that's fine, but it's so hard to hold it all the way up to my ear. Do I have to bend my elbow the whole time? Can't we figure out something that just wraps around my ear so it'll just stick inside of my ear, and that way I can walk around and talk to people without anybody having to bother me, and I don't have to hold my hand up to my ear, and it works great unless you don't know they have a thing in their ear. Then you think somebody from a mental institution has just walked into the stinking restaurant and he's having a conversation with somebody only he can see. Hey, I'm at that restaurant. Where are you? I can hear you, but where are you? It's gotten so bad, forgive me, ladies, that we've actually removed the handles from the urinals. So you don't have to put your phone down when you're doing the most natural of human functions. It just flushes automatically. Somehow it knows when you're done. How does it do that? I don't even know when I'm done. I'm just minding my own business, and all I see is a big black eye just staring at me, just looking right at me. You know, there's some guy behind that wall going, all right, I think it's finished. Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, go ahead and flush. Go ahead. Wait. Now. I actually went into a stall in an airport, forgive me again, ladies, and the guy next to me was having a business conference. I wanted to reach over the top and say, he's on the toilet. That's what he thinks of you and your big deal. They have removed the handles from the sit-down toilets, for crying out loud, the most basic of human experiences, and they've taken the stinking handle, and it works fine as long as you don't move. How did this become a difficult thing to do? You're just starting. Hey! I didn't even get started here. Oh, and then it stole my paper ring. Now I need a brand new paper ring. This is unbelievable. I just got that situated, and now I need a brand. Will you stop it? Quit peeling my paper ring. 15 minutes of this song and dance. You finally finish and get up. Nothing happens. How do you explain this to the guy behind the door? It's not my fault. They took the handle. Unbelievable what it's become. And yet, we laugh. We laugh because it allows us to experience joy. That little clue that says, I'm really here, and I want you to come home. Because, my friends, in the end, there's a D in God's name to remind us of deliverance. Just once. That's why it's called a miracle. God said, I'm here. It's really me. I'll do miraculous things. You know it's not a cult. And I will die, and I will return, and then you'll know. And what you do from now on with this information is your responsibility. You see, just as I spoke about the Trinity in marriage, God has always given us moments of heaven right here if we see it, if we choose to see it. And we can choose not to. Because we have to endure the curse to finally get the blessing, the redemption, and the reconciliation with the Creator of all things. That's what sleeping is. Practice being dead. Because you don't look good when you're dead, and you certainly don't look good when you're sleeping, do you? That's why when we go to sleep, we do it in a special room, in the dark, with the door closed, and a stinking pillow, and a stinking big blanket over our face so you can't view us. Ever see somebody fall asleep in public? Never attractive. Nobody wakes up normally when they fall asleep in public. What is that spastic explosion thing that never happens any other time in your life? The whole sleeping experience is weird. Why? Because human beings were not designed to be awakened by alarm clocks. We are supposed to be awakened by nature. Cock-a-doodle-doo! Yes! It's 4 in the morning. I don't care! I'm gonna go outside and milk something. What are the sounds we hear in the morning? Beep, beep, beep. What idiot in a lab coat said, let's wake people up electronically. Shall we use the sound of a rooster? No, the sound of a dump truck backing over their head. Can we get that? And nobody knows what happens to your bodies while you're sleeping because you're asleep. All we know for sure is we go to bed looking relatively okay. Wake up, somebody has beaten the crud out of my face. How can so much damage come from a pillow, please? Things happen to my face while I was sleeping that never happened while I was awake, and the things that happened should have woken me up. There's like crust in my eyes. Where does that come from? Looks like the stuff in your ear, for crying out loud. Somebody's sticking your stuff in my eye. I want to know about it. And something has seriously gone wrong inside of your mouth, big time. Isn't that sweet when your breath goes from a gas to a solid? Isn't that nice? Morning. One time I slept on my arm all night. Oh, isn't that a joy to wake up to? Go to bed with 2 arms. Wake up with 1. First time it happened, you were 3. You thought your arm had died. Remember the panic? Ham up and... Help me! Turn on a light. I can't! I had a stroke, apparently. You go to your mom, Mom, my arm's gone. No, it fell asleep. But it used to sleep with me. What a thing to tell your child, your arm has a life of its own. That's even more frightening. What if your arm wakes up before you do? It could get away with anything. Maybe it does. Maybe that's who's beating the crap out of your face every morning. Wake up, we want to go to the mall, we don't have feet. Come on. Starts pulling jokes on you. Hey, there's some goop in his ear. Stick in his eye. See if he figures that out. He's waking up. Play it cool. What's going on? Is it your arm? No, it's sleeping. Must have got in late last night. God bless you guys for coming out on a night like this. God bless you. Go forth and remember the truth is marching on. Good night, everybody.